Burnout to All Out fam, I am so excited for you all to get a chance to hear from the cream of the crop. These are our Burnout to All Out Elevate 360 mastermind clients who've been in my mastermind, high-level mastermind, all year this year. And we do a summit once a year with our mastermind clients to debut their zone of genius. What is incredible is that these clients all embody a 360 degree approach to business. They all contribute in one way, shape, or fashion as subject matter experts that contribute to the pillars of Elevate 360, which is truly that we believe that bodies build businesses and that we have to have business strategy and legacy strategy as well. And so what is really cool about these clients is that through a series of a couple of days of a summit, they were able to highlight and bring value and educate in their fields, whether it was around self-leadership, leadership in business, business strategies, energetics and mindset, and or legacy, and how we take what we're doing and make our money work harder than we did for it to create impact and legacy over time. And so they really embody all that represents the 360 degree approach to business and the Burnout to All Out through line of our mastermind. So over the next couple of episodes, you are going to hear from all of these experts. You're going to get the details to their work in the notes section. And hopefully you're inspired as well as to what is possible for you as an entrepreneur in scaling your businesses the way these incredible human beings have. So hope you enjoy this series. Without further ado, I'm excited to actually start with our first speaker for today, Mr. Junior Bourassa. And Junior, what I love about where we're going with you is that we're just going to dive in macro in the sense of real estate, because we're going to talk about international real estate, right? Like we're going to just talk about the entire globe this morning and where we could be investing. So Junior, before we get started, what I'd love to do is I'm going to kind of give the formal bio for the group. And then I know you've got a little bit of a brief presentation you want to share before we dive into a little bit of Q&A, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good morning. And good morning to you, Melissa, obviously, and to everyone else. And yes, we're going to definitely go global this morning. Nothing about Canada, nothing about what you can do in the States as far as real estate goes, but pretty much everywhere else.
Yes, and I love it. And it's so exciting. So I'll give you the informal bio. Junior has been a part of our coaching world for maybe over 2 years now. Junior, I feel like you've been to my house.
That's right.
You've been to my country club. We've been together at the retreats with the mastermind. You came in through lead generation with LinkedIn. And so that's, I've just really enjoyed your growth and your journey together over the past couple of years. And I take a keen interest. I've already told you once I'm done with this first luxury investment, I'm talking to you. I want a place in Dubai, and we'll talk today about a number of reasons why, right? So let me give the formal introduction then, Junior. So Junior is an international real estate advisor with over a decade of experience in the real estate industry. He specializes in helping clients invest in or acquire properties in sought after sunny destinations, including Portugal, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Dubai. As a passionate investor himself, which I think is huge, right? You're not just like selling real estate, you're investing yourself. But as a passionate investor himself, he thrives on connecting with like-minded individuals who share a vision of building wealth through real estate. Over the years, he's had the privilege of assisting many in turning their dreams of owning property abroad into reality. Beyond the world of real estate, Junior is an avid football fan, an enthusiastic traveler, and always eager to explore new cultures and opportunities, which is a good fit for what you do. So I know you look forward to meeting all of our listeners somewhere under the sun. With that, Junior, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of share with the community what you wanted to share, and then we can get into an open dialogue.
Sounds great. Thank you for that, Melissa. Much appreciated. The first thing that I'm going to say is that this, as you mentioned, is definitely a very brief presentation. I do presentations pretty much from morning to evening every single day, just about, sometimes 6, sometimes 7 days a week. And however, they do go from about 60 to 120 minutes or so. So this is definitely an abbreviated version. And of course, anyone who has the slightest interest whatsoever, of course, you'll get a QR code at the end where we can set up a meeting to give you all the details, all the information, answer all the questions that you might have, which, I'll also be able to do here today, since, like I said, my presentation will be super brief. So before I get into everything that we actually do at Sunset Real Estate, you have to understand that about 75–80% of our clients, which I meet through Zoom calls, just like we are doing this morning, as well as I meet people, of course, out in DR, out in Mexico, and every other country where I tour with clients, give them a tour of the developments and what we have to offer. But that being said, about 80% don't get on the plane. They don't even come. And they literally buy through and after a Zoom call, just like we're doing this morning. Okay, so what this means is that they have to trust the heck out of our company and trust the heck out of me. So with that in mind, I thought I would give a little bit more information about who we are, because if you don't trust our company, you don't trust me, there's absolutely no chance in the heck that you're going to buy from us, even if I have the best and most beautiful project on this planet. Company profile, a little bit of table of contents here, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to go through very quickly about us, the CEO of our company, which is not me, a little bit about myself, the team, experience, which could also be renamed to awards or recognition, the destinations that Melissa just mentioned, our services, why choose Sunset Real Estate, and of course, collaborate with us. Seems like a lot, really, it is not. So just give you a glimpse of who we are. First of all, because we are an international company from Canada, that being said, our head office is actually in Dubai. So yes, we do have physical offices there. CEO is actually out there, moved from Canada a couple of years ago with his family, with his kids, and is living directly in Dubai and living the good life out there. Mexico, Portugal, and DR. If we were to include Dubai in there, that number is going to jump up to over 200. Dubai is just a different animal and so much different than anything else out there. We have over 200 real estate agents in our company, and I'm proud to say that of those 200, well, I was actually the very first one that the company hired. So I've been through it all and seen every new phase come in. As again mentioned, strong presence, of course, in DR, Mexico, Portugal, Dubai, Canada. I can definitely add the United States, as we even have members in my own personal team from the US, actually one from Atlanta, one from Florida, and the East Coast. We have over 3,000 satisfied customers so far, and over 10 years, that's putting it mildly. Myself alone has been over 10 years, and pretty much every other person in the company. The CEO of our company has seen it all and done it all pretty much. Mr. Elisabeth, who is the one who is actually the head of the company, both Sunset Real Estate, but also our subdivision, if you will, which is Sunset Properties, different company name out in Dubai. So under his leadership, we have definitely grown at just an extremely rapid pace, and both companies are already being very, very successful in less than just a few years. Well, of course, this is me, and actually, I should add that this picture was taken at Miraval. So thank you for the photo shoot out there. So as mentioned, I won't go through all this once again, because thank you, Melissa, for going through my bio beforehand. But yes, I do want to point out that I'm a personal investor myself. This is part of my regular daily activities is to look at the opportunities in real estate and all those destinations that we serve. And basically what I'm doing is offering those same opportunities that I take advantage of and offer those to our clients, literally. So it's really like a copy and paste kind of thing. Some of our professionals head of different departments, such as marketing. We have Nicholas taking care of the legal department, Vincent, who is responsible for the business development, and Viviane, the operations director. And I'm sure you can notice right now that fairly young team of people here. So 30s and early 40s is a lot of where a company is. So definitely a bunch of very, very go-getters, if you will, such as myself, but very much from the very top of the company as well. This is just a fraction of the team of Sunset Advisors. You can find me in the very top left corners, and many of these are in my own personal team. So for any real estate agents out there, for example, who are looking to expand their business, there is many ways to do that globally. And what you get, well, is not only support from Sunset Real Estate, but my own personal support, where I even go and meet your clients. As I mentioned before, so experience-wise or recognition or awards, these pictures, you can find me here in the middle, as well as on the very right. So this is an awards ceremony out in Dominican Republic. Sometimes we don't know how things go in different countries, how things run. You might wonder how a ceremony kind of goes out there, sort of an award ceremony. And I can tell you, it is basically like the Emmy Awards. It is absolutely huge in the biggest room that you can imagine, with live bands and food and drinks and everything you can have. Yes, the most beautiful dresses for the ladies out there. It is a very, very important ceremony and awards a show in a way, which is very much all over social media once that happened. And I can proudly say that we've won International Company of the Year multiple times already. And this is in competition with over close to 4,000 different real estate agencies around the world. Okay, so we've definitely made our mark out there. That's pretty much the end of it already. Like as I said, a short presentation. You've got the QR code here that leads directly to my Calendly. If you'd like to take an appointment, you've got my phone number, of course, email, and my own personal website now that you can find here.
Awesome. So, Junior, thank you so much for kind of kicking us off and sharing with us a little bit about the company that you've hitched your wagon to. One of the things I love, I don't know, would love to know in the audience if anyone in the United States, we call it like a 1099, where like you're like an independent contractor for the company. And it's like really important that you're building your own personal brand and personal entity around the company that you're doing business with, right? And so I love working with clients like Junior, who, he's working with a corporation, but he has his own independent business along with it, right? So Junior, let's jump into some questions that probably the audience is wondering. And the first one really is about international real estate, right? Like what makes areas like the Dominican Republic, Portugal, Dubai, what makes them places that are smart to invest right now versus in the United States? So let's go down that rabbit hole for a second.
Absolutely. Great question, by the way. I love it. Well, and this is really the bigger of the job, if you will, of Sunset Real Estate and every member is the fact that, there's a reason why, it seems, I said globally and pretty much everywhere else other than North America. Not true. As you saw, right now we have 4 destinations. We could be in Florida. We could be in Costa Rica and many other destinations. There's many reasons why we're not. So we do a lot of research on those countries, the market, of course, the real estate market. And not only that, then we have to look at the developers out there Because frankly, if we took just the Caribbean, for example, unfortunately, you have to be really careful. And this is why, this is why we exist, because trying to do this on your own is going to be very, very difficult for you to figure out which developer is credible, which one is not, which one can disappear tomorrow and literally leave a project, halfway built and just totally abandoned, right? And you'll never hear from them again. And if you have sent thousands of dollars their way, well, good luck trying to recuperate that. So the companies that we deal with and the developers are extremely credible. It takes us sometimes 1, 2 years even before we shake the hand of a company to actually make an agreement with them and offer their product, right? So the developer is just as important as the destination itself. And then to find that combination of both is extremely difficult. So when we find one, the idea is really to have a long-term relationship, of course, of working with them and vice versa. Now, the other part, of course, is all the legal aspect, right? Everyone, somewhere in the back of their minds, even myself when I first did it, have that worry, a little bit of worry that, oh my God, I'm about to send $50,000 for whatever, 20% down payment or whatever the case might be, right? Oh my God, that's a lot of money that I'm just going to the bank and saying, send it to this account somewhere overseas.
Right.
So of course, we deal with the highest lawyer firms in every country. Again, the most reputable, the most credible, and through our legal contracts, through and with the developer, because really, the client is not signing a contract with Sunset Real Estate because they're not buying from us. They're using our services. We're the middleman of just helping out. So, but it is our image. It is our name that is out there. It is us who brought the client to that developer. So we also, just as our clients have to have a lot of trust in us, we have to trust the developer big time. And so with the help of the lawyer, of course, we have all the clauses in the contract in order to protect our clients from anything happening, anything going sideways, with full reimbursement, being a guarantee that you'll find it on contract. But because we're so proactive and we just don't deal with anyone that says, we'd love for you guys to sell our product, it has never happened, not a single time to this day, where a project that we've, marketed and announced out there and offered to our clients, it has never happened where a project did not see the day. So that's huge.
Awesome. Yeah, that's huge. And, you hit on something, and I can speak from this firsthand, not investing internationally, but just investing in real estate in general for the very first time. I can see how it can be intimidating for those of us who grew up in a traditional 9 to 5, where we were granted a 401k and I even have a pension, where I was never exposed to diversifying where I was building an income. And, being in the physical market felt really unfamiliar and really, really scary the first time I invested. My nervous system, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but it's when you're investing and you've never invested like that before, it feels really risky, and it's in a space that you don't fully understand and you're kind of learning as you go. But so it's really about doing the reps and getting the experience, right? Because what I've heard from you is that once clients come in and invest with you the first time, you have many repeat offenders that are yes. Okay, now I get it. Now this is no longer foreign to me. It's just that we're intimidated by things we don't understand, right? And it's the same with tax law. And I know we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit, but it's we tend to be intimidated about things we don't understand and then kind of avoid it and just be it's not my thing, versus doing the due diligence and being willing to be exposed to something new and think differently about how we can invest. So I love this topic, because now that I've invested once in the United States, I'm all right, let's get done with this project so we can move on to the next one, right?
Totally. And it's so funny because, what we do is absolutely for everyone. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
for the very first time investor in real estate. I've sold to many people who have not even bought real estate in Canada and or the US. And they're like, you know what? I keep seeing these ads about Mexico and DR, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to go for it. And they,
Mm-hmm.
from their very first investment, and kudos to them. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And from the very first one, they buy overseas, and really they go from there. But what we offer is also for expats, for who literally want to live there full time,
Mm-hmm.
retirees who want to spend 6 months of the year out in the sun and not in their freezing part of the world, for example. Also to the experienced investors, of course. So really for anyone and everyone. And what people sometimes don't realize, if they don't, at least take the time to inquire, to get a Zoom call with me where I go over everything, to realize that this is doable for anyone and everyone. And you do not have to be a millionaire to do this.
Right. Right. No, absolutely. And that was what I had to come to grips with myself. And everyone's story is different, right? But for me as a business owner who, is well, there's like a couple of variables there, but it's like diversifying where your income is to like risk mitigation too, right? Like
Of course.
I ultimately was like, I don't want all of my retirement in the market. That's risky. I also
Yeah.
don't want all of my husband's retirement in his company's stock. Yes, it's growing like wildfire right now, but like shit could hit the fan, right? And it's like we
Exactly.
need to
Yes.
diversify where our money is so that no matter if one thing falls, like we have other assets lined up. So it's just such a brilliant place to be. Well,
And
let me ask you this. Oh, did you have something else you were going to say?
no, I was just going to add that even within the real estate itself, because we operate in different countries, I
Mhm.
would always suggest to my clients, and this is what I do personally, where if you're looking at building, I don't know, a 10, 12 real estate doors and residences that you own in condos and villas and so on and so forth, don't buy them all in the same country, right? Buy them
Mm-hmm.
in DR, buy one in Mexico, buy something in Dubai, because they're all different laws, different tax exemptions and programs. Everything works differently in each country. So to have that diversification in your real estate acquisitions is also something that I fully recommend.
Yeah, so I mean, let's just double click into tax and legal. And I know that every country is different, all the
Yes.
things. But even my house manager and I had this discussion yesterday because she's not established as a 1099 right now and she's not taking any tax write-offs whatsoever. And I,
Ouch.
I felt like it was my due diligence to educate her on pre-tax income versus post-tax income and the amount of money she's just lighting on fire because she's not educating herself about tax law, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same with real estate, right? I think that a lot of people avoid it because they don't understand it. I know I'm kind of in a rabbit hole here, but they don't understand the power of some of tax benefits and opportunities with real estate. And I know, again, investing in the US is a little bit different than investing outside of the country, but I know we just had
Totally.
this like 100%, what is it? Depreciation in the United States, like basically we have like $100,000 deduction on this new property that we're building next year based off new tax laws with the federal government, right?
Yeah.
But we had to do the due diligence of like learning about it and being willing
Yeah.
to be competent about it. So, can you talk a little bit about for US based investors or maybe your Canadian investors, like understanding legal and tax implications at even opportunity when it comes to investing internationally?
Of course. And I'll throw one back at you, Melissa, is how did you, educate yourself in the best possible way? Is you threw yourself out there and
Yes.
actually made an investment.
Right.
Well, that's the best way, like anything else, right?
Learning
You
every
have to
single
go
day.
out
Yeah.
there. You've got to jump in and learn kind of as you go, because you could do all the research in the world. There's nothing like actually doing it. So once our client have made that first investment where literally we take him by the hand every single step of the way, right? It's not like they're signing an agreement, a purchase agreement, and then they're left on their own. Not in the least bit, right? So every single step of the way, when there's different steps that need to be taken and actions. We're always there. I have clients who call me who bought 3 years ago, right? And they still call me. They're still, the person that they want to talk to when they have a question about anything and everything. But so that being said, we do have the legal team within Sunset Real Estate, but really, which is then an extension, an arm extension to all of the legal lawyer firms that end up representing the client, right, in every single country. Now, as far as different benefits and advantages tax wise, that alone will take 2 hours. But
Right.
I'll give you an example where in DR, for example, Dominican Republic, they do have a tax exemption program in order to entice foreign investors. And this is one of the reasons why so many people buy there. So what it is in the end, long story short, there's of course a few things, that need to be put in place for that to happen. But every single client of ours who buy in DR have 100% that program that applies to their purchase. And what that does, basically, if you're buying a condo, for example, 250,000, 2 bedroom, 2 full bathrooms, which is really cheap, by the way, it could be 1,200 square foot, whatever the case, just a beautiful place. Well, that 250,000, there's no taxes whatsoever on that purchase price. Okay, so that's the first benefit. Second benefit is that there's no municipal, if we'll call it that, municipal taxes on that property for 15 years. Okay. So when we're talking about something you're going to buy for 250K, it's costing 250K. You don't have to add 10 or 8% to that number. It's actually that and that alone.
Right.
So that's just a DR example. Now, of course, is the revenue that you're making from property or renting it out and so on and so forth, is that taxable? Unfortunately, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Now, by country, that number could be higher or lower, of course, right? Right. In Dubai, which is like I said, a totally different animal. And just to give you an example of how much appreciation you can get from buying a pre-construction unit in a development, you could buy today at whatever price, and in less than 2 years, when they hand you the keys, that property could be worth 80% higher in value in those 2 years alone.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what that does to our clients. They buy in pre-construction, they resell once it's done. Take that benefit, take that income, do the same thing over and over and over again. Right?
100%. And I love this so much. And I think that's where I began to see the bigger vision with our investment, is that it's not this like short-sighted investment. This term, I think maybe I don't know if it's Robert Kiyosaki's accountant that termed this term phantom income. It's like that lifelong compounding phantom income you don't see on the initial balance sheet that happens over time. So for instance, to your point, if you invest in a property that appreciates over time, that's phantom income in itself, right? Like you've invested this and it appreciates over time, just like the stock market, right? But this is like hard assets and real estate. But then the tax deductions that impact for those of us who have a higher net worth or higher, yearly income, looking for ways to bring down our taxable income. And then the other thing that you mentioned, and I don't know how this works internationally, yes, we are taxed on the money we make to rent it. But if it's an individual LLC that you have a mortgage on and you rent it, and it doesn't meet the cost of like running the business for the year, like you can run it so that it's a negative,
Absolutely.
Right? So like, anyway, I could go on and on and on about this, right?
Yes,
but you have to be willing to like study it and understand it. And I think that that's what's so amazing about the support that your company provides from like a legal perspective, and just being an absolute white glove experience to like see you through. And the thing I wanted to underscore here is that it behooves you to give this phenomenal service, because repeat customers are the best kind of customers. And you're only going to get repeat customers if you over deliver in the first transaction, right?
Yeah. And I was mentioning before how the trust is important, right? in dealing with us. But once we've done that one time, we're skipping all that part the second, third, and seventh time that we're doing
Mm-hmm.
business together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's not 4 hours of trying to know each other and for you to know us. We're skipping right to the project, and I get calls where, Junior, what is the hottest, best project for me to invest in right now? I've got some money, that just came in. I need to put it somewhere, invest it somewhere. And of course, just to one last word on Dubai is that out there we even offer, really hands-on, full service as far as even opening your bank account out there. So you know what that means. Now income can be sent to that account as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
North America. You can
And then you
open a
can start rolling
business.
those investments into other proproperties in that same country, and
Yes.
that income and that all of that stays there, right? I,
Yes.
I
And
see
then
the
you
big
just,
picture. Yeah.
yeah, I know you do, right?
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and we do have investors trip organized that we do to Dubai about once every 2 months. And I'll be on one of those this fall because I will be making my first investment in Dubai.
Oh, so good. Well, you've got some people in the chat saying, I never thought about rental properties abroad. This is great. Absolutely. And the last thing I'll say on the phantom income, because I know I was talking about the stacked ways that there's long-term income, is it's the tax breaks, it's the appreciation on the property. But for those who rent it also and have a mortgage on it, other people, this is the way I see it, other people are investing in your retirement because
Yeah,
they're
of
renting
course.
that property and paying down the debt on a property that's appreciating over time. You're not going to get that in the market. No one's going to pay towards your stock, right? And it's
Exactly.
also not going to be a place that you can double dip and go vacation at, right? So
Exactly.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan, Junior. So, as we're wrapping up, one of the questions I'm asking everyone is how you're embodying the 360 approach to life and business, because this is Elevate 360. You applied and came into this high caliber mastermind because you saw the importance of the full circle to be highly successful. Anything you want to share with these folks as to like how you embody the 360 approach?
Of course, of course. Well, for me, it's going to be, somewhat of a short answer, but what I would say is for me is it means looking at the whole picture, right?
Mhm.
So not just focusing on the income, but the clients themselves. For me, there's nothing more important than offering good service. And, what we offer is not for everyone, as much as we want to say that it's great, product and investments, it is not for everyone. And someone who is not comfortable, making that leap, then it's okay, right? We're not going to be, less friends than before we started. So the strategy, the mindset, the execution, not just one piece, as I mentioned, but I've embodied that by focusing on the results, but also building relationships, staying adaptable, and literally aligning every move together in order to grow.
I love that so much. And I would also like piggyback on the fact that you really embody the all out expression of being an entrepreneur because, you don't just stay in Canada. Like you have found a way to make a living doing what you love to do, right?
Yes.
Like
Oh yeah.
you're able to travel, you are a people person, and so your day to day, you are truly embodying what you're passionate about and like bringing it to other people. So you're in full alignment, right?
I
Which is
really
just
am. I
powerful.
really am. There's
Yeah.
no there's no, retirement anytime soon for me because I love what I do and I love meeting people and getting to know them and to be honest, most of them become, friends in many, many, many instances.
Yes. So good. Well, we've got one more question here before we wrap up with Junior, Melissa. And by the way, for all of those who watch this on replay or have additional questions, know that, well, number one, Junior, you can book a call with him, but also he's in the Circle community. As long as you're registered for the summit, you can get into the Circle community and see his post in there, and you can get into conversation and have an open forum dialogue around real estate. But Melissa's asking, what's the best trusted resource to increase our education on these real estate investments? Like Junior, right? No.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there's so many tools out there, but to be honest, I mean, you can do Chat GPT, you can do Google and everything, but there's nothing like if you're able to, obviously do so, you take a vacation, go out there and be out in the field, meet these developers, go see their offices. Is the office something that, that would mirror something that we'd find in the States, and or is it in the shed in the middle of nowhere, right? That alone will give you all the information that you need to know about whether that's a trusted developer or not. But I mean, in the end, it is a long, long haul to try and do all of that on your own. We have a large team of people, myself who's out there. I have colleagues currently in Portugal, in Dubai, as I mentioned, as well as Mexico. We are always in those destinations ourselves, and we're meeting people every day, talking with other real estate companies out there, and make sure that we know the market and what we're offering is really a solid investment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know that's not, probably all of the answer you're looking for, but really I would say, give us a chat, give me a little bit of time to go into further details through a consult, and just that alone is going to give you so much information you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. I love this. So Junior, thank you so much for educating our audience today on maybe an idea on how they could be investing and they hadn't thought about before, right? And just thank you so much for sharing your brilliance and inspiring folks to think differently with how they invest.
Sounds good. Thanks for your time, Melissa.
I hope you found this episode as inspirational and kick-ass as I enjoyed interviewing with it. If you loved this and you resonated with it, please reach out to the speakers. Their information is in the notes. Feel free to reach out to us. And as always, if you're curious about mentorship and support and business coaching under the Burnout to All Out umbrella, go to burnouttoallout.co and check out what we have going on in the business mentorship world today, including business coaching and retreats that are live and experiential and take a 360-degree approach to business. We can't wait to see you on the other side, wherever we collide.